Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Divine Journey. So, since the last episode, I've done a bit of mining, and I went ahead and sorted everything into this iron chest. So we have ores, we have gems. I also put flint and clay in here. I usually put those with ore and gems for like early sorting. They just make sense to me to be in that category. We've also got a bunch of iron built up, and a bunch of iron in here, and did a bit of mining, mainly just using the flint pickaxe. So I did find a bunch of gold and redstone and things like that down in the mine, because I did spend a bit of time lighting that area up a little bit more. I haven't fully explored the mine or anything like that, but as of right now, I've just been mining the stuff, mainly iron and whatnot, that I can mine with the flint pick. Now out here, I did find, I went on a slight exploration. It wasn't very far. It was like over here to like a big mountain, and then I was like, okay, turn back. It's turning night. But anyways, I did plant some trees and stuff out here and been harvesting those. And I did add lycanites mobs into the pack. And I've only been playing with it briefly. And I did encounter a couple mobs. I encountered the Reaper that spawns whenever you try to sleep sometimes. And actually, if we open up achievements, there we go. I slayed a Geonock, which spawns whenever you mine. And then I also slayed a Reaper, or a Phantom. And then I also slayed an Ant. I don't know where the achievement is in here, but I did kill one of those because, right here, slay an Ant. He spawned whenever I chopped down a tree. Okay, so we got the mobs that spawn when you mine any kind of gems or ores. Ones that spawn when you cut down trees, and we got the Reaper that spawn when I try to sleep. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. Also, the Reaper, he drops some spectral bolt charges. These are like a weapon, almost. He also drops some obsidian. So just a heads up, we do have a block of obsidian in here. And you can see I got a couple stacks of wood for us to get started with today. Now, in addition, I did complete one quest while I was mining, and that is charged up for getting charged Certus Quartz Crystal. So we'll go ahead and turn that in. They're going to give us 2 more for completing that. And we'll go ahead and throw that into there. Okay. So anyways, picking back up where we left off, we are going to first be working towards getting ourselves some alumite. Okay? And let me pull our achievement book down. And that's what they want us to do, is make obsidian in the smeltery, and that's what we are going to do first. So I think what we're going to do is let's make ourselves another liquid transfer node. So it's lapis, bucket, iron, those transfer pipes. I think we've still got some, yeah, we got some of those lying around. And let me get some iron, some lapis. And then we're going to need a bucket. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and make an extra bucket, because we're going to need one, for moving liquids and stuff around. So there is our 2 buckets. And then, a block of redstone. Or do I want to go ahead and just make, because I did get an ender pearl, didn't I? Yeah. I can't remember what I got that from, either. Maybe it was a quest or something. Because I haven't killed any endermen, but... no, I'm just going to go with a block of redstone. I've only got one ender pearl. I don't want to waste it right now. Until, we have a fair few of them. Okay, let's get a portable tank. So that's going to take a bit of copper. Not really a problem. We have a lot of copper lying around. Let me just dump like 9 in there. And then we're also going to need to get ourselves a piece of glass. Let me actually just make 8 pieces of glass. Just so we don't waste this coal. And then in addition, I'm going to need to go get an infinite water source set up, because that's something I haven't done. I think we're going to put it just right, we'll put it right in here. This will be fine. So let's go get some water. Oh. I need to sleep first. And right now I'm just kind of living off blackberries. We do have enough. I have, raspberries and blueberries that we can start making the actual food item. The bowls of raspberry soup or whatever. Or not raspberry soup. The bowls of berry soup stuff. We can start making those. I'm actually going to grab these. I missed those entirely. Oh, an aluminum ore gravel. Let's take that. because we're actually going to need that shortly. I was actually kind of concerned because I've only found like a few pieces of aluminum underground, and I did not know that there was aluminum gravel that close to my... Hey! Cobbin. Now this... Oh, that's Divine RPG. I was like, is that lycanites mobs? I'm like, I don't remember that at all. Oh, I should have gotten the water before I made that transfer node, but that's okay. And what did he drop, by the way? Terran shards. Alright. There's another one. You know, it's funny, running into those Geonox and running into the Ents and the Reapers and stuff. Honestly, the Divine RPG mobs are a bit stouter than the Lycanites mobs as far as, like, health and the amount of damage that they deal. I will say that we're going to make armor in just a second, by the way, so we might actually go ahead and do that first. And I think all the armor is, yes, armor is standard craft. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and make ourselves a bit of iron armor. Just so we have a little bit more defense at our disposal. Because as it stands right now, the Divine RPG mobs, they pretty much like will two-shot me. And I don't like that. The Lycanites mobs really aren't as stout as the Divine RPG mobs, but I might actually buff them up a little bit, depending, because I feel like the Lycanites mobs could be a little bit stouter. I did do a little bit of config tweaking. I went ahead and made it so that it doesn't disable, you know, any vanilla spawns, because by default, Lycanites, in certain biomes, it'll shut off a lot of the vanilla spawns so that you have more Lycanites mob spawning. But I feel like in this pack, you know, we've got all the vanilla mobs. We have, do we have Ender Zoo? Like the Ender Minis? I don't know if we do or not, but I don't think so. But that's fine. I mean, we've got, you know, we've got Divine RPG adding mobs. We got Lycanites mobs. We've got Thaumcraft. We have Witchery. We have all this stuff adding mobs. So I think the world's going to have a lot of variety. So I don't really want to shut off the vanilla spawns. Otherwise, I feel like it'll be a little bit more difficult to find, you know, skeleton skulls and different things, you know, of that nature. So I do want to run those. But I have noticed it seems like invasions aren't part of like the default Lycanite stuff anymore. Because I did not find them in the configs. I was going to see about, you know, at least shutting off some of those, but I didn't really come across any, so that's fine. That works out well. Alright, so we got our infinite water source, and I'll tell you what, actually instead of this design, I'm going to change it slightly, and we're going to go with that design instead. There we go. That way I can pull water from anywhere, and it's not going to mess up. Alright, so let's get ourselves a tank. I'm going to go ahead and pour out a bit of this copper. And our glass is done. We'll go ahead and grab that. And it was what? Lapis, copper block, and 2 copper ingots, right? So there's our copper block, and I actually have a couple copper ingots right there. And we'll get ourselves our portable tank. Oops. And I guess for right now, I'm just going to pump the liquids into this drain, and then I'll just switch these over, I guess, for right now. No, I don't want that. Yeah, and we'll just kind of alternate. We'll alternate out the casting basin and the casting table for the time being. I think that'd be the best way to do it. Okay, so let's get ourselves a bucket of lava. And we'll throw that in there. It's going to start pulling in. And we'll get ourselves a bucket of water. That should be, yep, there's lava. And we'll throw that into there. And that's going to start making obsidian for us. Okay, so there's 2 ingots of obsidian. I'm going to need probably a few more than that. Let's go ahead and make like 5 crafts total for this. Okay, so we'll have a bit of obsidian. 10 pieces. That should be good for right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and dump in this aluminum gravel ore that we got. And we've already got iron in there. That's pretty much all we need to make alumite. And in our achievement book, make obsidian, we've done that. Okay? So now what we're after really is the alumite. And once this aluminum gets done, we should have a little bit of it. I think it's aluminum high on these. I think it's like 2... No. maybe more like 5 ingots of aluminum for each alumite or something like that. Yeah, so there is 6 ingots of alumite. Awesome. And we're also going to need to make some aluminum brass. Or I can use gold. Honestly, I'm going to use gold right now. Because I have a bit of gold. Actually, I don't think I have any up here. But I do know where a bunch of gold is down in the mines. I don't know where a bunch of aluminum is. Aluminum is one of those things, I either find a bunch of it or I barely find any of it, you know. So I think I'm going to make my cast out of gold for right now. That's fine. So let's get, let me get some cobblestone. And part builder. And what I want to do is I want to make first up a pick, of course. So there's that. There's a tool rod. And then a tool binding. Here we go. And we'll go ahead and pour some cast. I think it's, isn't it 2 ingots of, yeah, it's 2 ingots of gold for each cast. Not ideal, but that's fine. It'll work. At least for this initial bit. And then once I get more aluminum, I'll make aluminum brass and stuff. So, alright, so we got that. Let's go ahead and make the pickaxe head out of alumite. The tool rod, let's go with, I think I'm going to go with obsidian, actually. So, let's do that. And then the binding, honestly, I'm thinking about doing it out of paper. Honestly. So, yeah, let's grab this stuff, and this stuff just needs to get trashed. There we go. And, well, I don't know. I don't really have the stuff for paper. Now, I need to get sugarcane planted. I've got, well, I've actually got enough. Never mind. We'll just do that. And then I'll keep the rest of that sugarcane to plant. Okay. There we go, paper binding. And then let's go ahead and make our pick. And we'll probably be using this pick for a little bit. Now, normally, you know, if it wasn't a pack like this, you know, you'd run straight to the Nether, get cobalt, get manual, or cobalt and ardite, and make cobalt picks and all that stuff. But I don't foresee it being that easy in this pack. So, I really don't. So, we have 4 modifiers, mining level cobalt. And I tell you what, for this pick, we're going to go ahead and put our lapis on it. Okay, because I'm going to probably fortune this one up before I get a new pick, I do imagine. Oh, we didn't get an alumite ingot. Let me get, we'll get the ingot cast. Let's set alumite. And I'm going to go ahead and dump all this out because we don't need, you know, alumite in the smelter anymore. And there we go. We have 5 alumite ingots, and that's going to complete that quest. They're going to give us 16 mossy stone bricks. Awesome. Then they want us to make an alumite pickaxe head. We've already done it. And they're going to give us 6 pieces of paper, 6 aluminum brass ingots. Well, there was my aluminum brass. But oh, wow. Now they want us to get 40 pieces of obsidian. Woot. Okay. And if we take a look at the achievement book, make alumite. So we've done that. And then they want us to mine titanium, obsidian, rupee, arlemite, and realmite. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead. I'm going to throw this in there and that in there. And let's go ahead and put lapis on this. Because I think we're going to need it. At least I think it would be useful on this pick to have. And then we'll upgrade, you know, we'll make a new pick a little bit later on. Try to get as much lapis on this as we can. And I guess I really don't need this flint pickaxe anymore. I'm going to hold on to it for right now. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Never mind. We'll just toss it in there. Toss that in there. Okay, now they want us to go mining a little bit. And so we're going to go do that. We're going to go for these ores they list. Titanium, obsidian, rupee, arlemite, realmite. And to be honest, I know where quite a few of these are. And here in a minute, I do want to get a new sword. Because it's something that we're definitely going to want. But I think we'll be okay going into here for right now. Because I've got most everything lit up already. Oh, that is a geonaut, by the way. Oh, yeah, we definitely need a new sword. I tried using my pick, because in some cases, the pick actually does a lot of damage against those guys, if I remember correctly, but it wasn't doing a whole lot, so. Alright, see, there's real might ore from Divine RPG. We're going to go ahead and grab that stuff. Gold I'll take. There's more real might. There's actually a bit of that stuff. There's Arlemite, so we'll go ahead and grab that. I think that was on the list of things. Yeah, and then they want us to get rupee, which I did find some of that down here too. And then titanium, which I also found some of that. There's rupee, actually. It's mainly Divine RPG resources and then obsidian. Got another geonock down here. Yeah, for some reason the Tinker's construct picks do like no damage against this guy. Oh, we got a phantom. An Azure Phantom. Oh, man. I definitely need a new sword. We're going to have to go back and get one here pretty quickly. There we go. And he actually dropped 8 obsidian. That's not bad. That will definitely help on our way towards getting 40 obsidian. Okay, there's titanium from Quantum Flux. We'll go ahead and grab that. There's a Cephignus fish. Oh no, I hate those things. Oh, what in the world? There's a rock underground here. Huh. Okay, we are surviving still. Anyways, there's a bunch more gold. I mean, there's gold all over down here. I did find a bunch while I was mining. Okay, I'm going to head back up for right now. You can see that caving is very, very dangerous, but also very exciting with lycanites. That's why I wanted it, you know. I have a lot of fun with lycanites. I have too much fun with lycanites, in fact. And once we get into, like, monster taming and stuff, it gets really, really fun, I feel like. Okay, but anyways, we've got... I mean, we did get a bit of obsidian. I haven't actually technically mined obsidian, quote-unquote, but I'm going to go ahead and mark that off because we do have a bit of obsidian built up. I just haven't found any, like, little obsidian ponds yet, you know, where lava and water have hit. Which is fine. I'm not going to be able to probably do that quest for 40 obsidian just yet. That's probably going to take a little bit. But anyways, the next thing that we need to do is kind of switch over and start working on power somewhat. And I'm also going to want a new sword as well. I think... Let me take a look. I think I might just go with alumite, honestly. Actually, I'll tell you what. Looking through and everything, I think I'm just going to go with an iron sword, in fact. For the time being. Because until I can get, like, nether quartz and stuff, I just don't feel like... Because it's going to be a little while, probably, before we can get into the nether. Or at least a little bit. Before we can get into the nether and really start getting some of those resources. So, I'm just going to go with an iron sword for the time being. We've got tons of iron. And I went ahead and grabbed my bow out. And the arrows that we do have at the moment. Just in case. So, we kind of have that as like a fallback. So, anyways, next up, I think we're going to start working our way into power. We're going to go ahead and do this basic energy quest to get the Sterling generator. For this, it's a furnace, basic gears. Those take iron gears. Okay. Well, let me get a bit of this. That's why I got all that iron made up, because I have a feeling we're probably going to need it today. Let's go ahead and break that down. Let's get ourselves just a couple of these basic gears. And I'm going to need a bunch of sticks. Then I'm also going to need another furnace, and I'll tell you what, I'm just going to take one of these furnaces for the time being, because I have a feeling we're not going to be using these too much longer, because the next part in the achievement book actually has us getting a pulverizer and a redstone furnace, so we'll probably change all of our smelting by the end of the episode over to RF-based smelting. I have a feeling. Okay, so the Sterling generator, we're going to need stone bricks, basic gears. Let's go ahead and get those. And then we're also going to need a piston. That is weighted pressure plate, redstone, chest, stone, and planks. Okay. All these recipe changes. They're so interesting. Let's get a bit of this. A little bit of the stone. And I'll get a couple crafts of stone bricks. Oh yeah, we're going to need a chest, right? So let me get that. And then weighted pressure plates. We're also going to need a piece of redstone. There's a chest. And... oh no, it's 2 pieces of redstone. My bad. Okay. It's a little bit more expensive for a piston, I have to say. And then, there we go. There is our Sterling generator. And they're going to give us 10 pieces of coal. So we'll go ahead and take that. And let's go ahead and set this up. And I think I may have to dig something out here. Like a little bit more space somewhere. Okay, so for right now, we're going to put our Sterling generator down just right here. And I'm going to go ahead and throw a bit of coal into this. If I throw in like 2 pieces, perhaps, that should be okay. We'll let that start building up. And then next up, they want us to make... let's see, there's the redstone furnace. So it looks like, yeah, to get to the sag mill and stuff, we're going to have to go through that. So, yeah. We'll go ahead and get ourselves our first machine frame. These require 10 gears. I don't know if I want to make a gear cast. I'm probably just going to be lazy and just do it this way, honestly. I don't know. Yeah, probably. Seared glass. That's seared bricks. Then we're going to need weighted pressure plates as well. Oh, wow. Okay, so let me make up a bit more grout. How much clay do I have? 44 pieces. That's not too bad, I guess. I'll just make what I can. And we'll get that smelting up. And then, let's see, weighted pressure plates. These machine frames are actually pretty expensive, I have to say. Like, just a tad bit on the expensive side. And I'm going to need a bit more glass smelted up. So, well, actually, I got rid of my one furnace. Okay, let me make another furnace. We're going to need it. I changed my mind. I don't want to use up my furnaces. There we go. And there's that. Get that smelting up. Okay, I'll tell you what, while we're waiting, I'm going to need more sand. Like, I'm definitely going to need a bit more sand anyways. So let me go ahead. And we're going to go see about getting our hands on a little bit more of that. My trees are all growing all of a sudden. Like, I was keeping them cut down, like collecting wood, and now that I went mining and stuff for a bit, they had time to build back up. Okay, what do we got down here? A Keppel Silex. Are those aggressive? I don't remember those. Oh. It doesn't really seem to be aggressive. Seems to be just like a passive little fish. Huh. See, some of these mobs are new. Like, Lycanites is always adding more and more stuff. I know they've added bosses and stuff now, which is nice. Oh, those things drop lapis and raw silex meat. We can cook it to get cooked silex meat. Ooh. Okay. Anyways, let me get a bit of the sand. That's what I came out here for. For the main thing that I came out here for. Oh, more fish. I do want these because these might actually prove to be a pretty good source of food. For the time being. And they're a good source of lapis for starting out. Which is, in fact, nice. Yeah, so we've got 30 pieces of raw silex. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, that's the last thing we want. Those mobs are right there. I can't remember the name of them, but they're big like lava golems, and they chuck lava. And they are probably the worst mob, in my opinion. Like, they're so difficult when you go to the Nether, and they're just, like, throwing lava all over the place. Like, oh, man, it's bad. It is bad. Basically, what spawns them is like lava. Blocks of lava. And it can be flowing or it can be still lava. And, yeah. Fun times. The thing about lycanites is as long as we play it kind of smart, we'll be okay. You know, there's... Lycanites, of course, adds a lot of challenge, but it also adds a lot of benefit, too. Like, as far as, you know, like those silex fishes, being able to get lapis and meat off of them, and the reapers being able to get obsidian, and things of that nature. Now, I'm going to try not to get, like... You know, if I get resources, like earlier I got obsidian, well, I still wanted to make obsidian the right way. You know, I'm trying to keep from it being, like... I don't want us to be able to skip over parts of progression with lycanites, but I still want to be able to, you know, use lycanites, kind of benefit from lycanites a little bit. Alright, so our seared bricks are done. We've got a bit of glass done. Let's go ahead and get the seared glass that we need. And I am short on glass. Okay, and there is our last piece of... Whoops, there we go. Our last piece of seared glass. And we've got the weighted pressure plates. Now we just need the 10 gear. I guess I'm going to go ahead and make a gear cast. Okay? Because I don't want to, like, abuse iron to the point that then we don't have any. So, might as well, I guess. Alright, so we're going to start with just a basic gear, an iron gear. Put that into there, and then we'll pour some of that aluminum brass on the top. There's our gear cast. And then once this tin is all smelted up, there we go, and we'll get our first 10 gear. There we go. And then we can get our basic machine frame. Not too bad, but still, I mean, all this stuff together, it adds up. It adds to that cost pretty quickly. Okay, so that's a quest completed. They're going to give us 12 redstone, and then next up, we either need to get a pulverizer or a redstone furnace. I think I'm going to go with the redstone furnace first. That requires 2 bricks, redstone reception coil, that's gold gear. We're also going to need a copper gear. Well, it just so happens I do not actually have any copper. I thought I had copper still in there, but I guess I don't. I'm actually just going to pour all this tin out as gears, because that will be fine. Because we can always melt it back down if we need to or whatever, but I think that'll be good. And... oh, I actually don't have enough clay. I'm going to have to go get clay now. Because we used up most of our clay making all that grout. So, okay, back to the river then. And I think we might start making some better food now as well. We're just moving up in the world. We got armor, we got a weapon, we'll be getting better food. Alright, we have a bunch of clay now. Like, quite a bit of clay. So I think we'll be okay on that for the time being. I'm going to go ahead and grab this sand as well. Since we're over here. The thing is, I'm still going to need a bit more water, because... I mean, I'm quickly eating through all the clay and sand in these areas. Like, making all these seared bricks and stuff. And I do want to upgrade the size of our smeltery. But at the same time, it's not going to be as crucial here shortly, because we're going to have ore doubling a different way. You know, we'll have pulverizers and pulverizers and redstone furnaces and all that. We won't have to use the smeltery necessarily to ore double, and just use it for actual smeltery, like tools and things of that nature. Okay, so we got a bit of bricks, and we'll go ahead and get our brick blocks. And then next up, we're going to need copper gears, 2 of those. And then we're also going to need a gold gear as well. I don't have enough gold in here. I'll get a little bit more gold smelted. Then let's get our 2 copper gears. Yeah, and then once the gold gets smelted, we'll get our gold gear. And then we'll be done, I think. I think so. So let me get just a little bit of redstone, because we are going to need that. And then we're going to have to get another machine frame, too. I guess, well, yeah. Because technically we have quests for both of them. And I know the achievement book says make some power. And they say a pulverizer and a redstone furnace. Okay, and then right down here, make an alloy smelter and a sag mill. So, okay. They're very similar machines, but... there we go. There's our redstone furnace. And then for the pulverizer, let's take a quick look at that, because they also want us to make that. Pulverizer is just more copper gears and more of this stuff. And then a piston. Fun. Fun times. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and we can get our basic machine frame pretty easy. Let me get that glass real quick. 3 of those. And I'll tell you what, honestly. Don't they want us here in a second? You have to make induction smelters, magma crucibles, fluid transposers. Let's just go ahead and make like an extra set of these. I'm going to go ahead and make 2 machine frames, because we're going to need them. At this rate, we're going to need them very, very soon. And I went ahead and whenever I poured out all that tin, I figured we would need it. I'm glad I did. So there is 2 more machine frames. The pulverizer, okay, copper gears. Let's get those pouring. And then let me get enough gold for another golden gear. Oh, and then we're going to need a piston. Fun. I'll tell you what, all this lapis, I'm just going to put that onto my pick. Okay, so it's got Fortune 1 now. We have 69 pieces of lapis. Hoot. Alright, so copper gears, and then we'll get our gold gear. Where is that sound? Ah, come on down here. There he is. It's a raptor. A Ventoraptor. Aha! You're dead, sir. I did do a bit of lighting up outside, as you can tell, but... Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and set up this redstone furnace. We'll put it, like, right here. I'm not going to do probably any automation with this stuff right now. So putting it right here will be fine. Let me throw in a bit more of that coal. And let's get the stuff for that piston. So we're going to need... Oh gosh, we need like all kinds of things, don't we? Yeah, just a bit. Okay. First up, we're going to need a weighted pressure plate. And then we're going to need 2 pieces of redstone. We're going to need a chest. And then planks and smooth stone. And there we go. And then we'll just go ahead and start laying this stuff out. There's that. And then flint on the sides. And that gold gear is done, so we'll go ahead and grab that. And there we go. Pulverizer. Woot. Woot. And I will say, yeah, hands down, this pack is harder than Project Ozone so far, I feel like. I mean, I feel like more has to go into the recipes. They're a little bit more involved. So, but then again, it's hard to say because we're going to get into AE2 like early into the pack instead of like mid-game, and I don't know, it just depends, but I feel like this pack was built more, you know, without the intention of Project E, because like Project Ozone went for like really big costs, but then eventually you got really easy ways to get those resources. You know, even being able to start magical crops early into the game, whereas in this pack, magical crops is a bit later into the game. So that's going to be interesting. But anyways, we got our pulverizer and our sag mill. They're going to give us 3 leadstone flux ducts, and they're going to give us an integrated hopper apparatus for our pulverizer. Okay. And we can go ahead and mark off this stuff right here. We're done with that. So next up, they want us to make induction smelter, magma crucible, and fluid transposer for this line, which that's not actually in this quest section. I believe that's probably a little bit, yeah, right here. Combine, transpose, magnify. Okay, I was actually just looking because I'd like to get some power storage in place. It's kind of my next step, you know. But to do that, we have to get leadstone energy cell frames. These require redstone alloy blocks. Okay, so not something we're going to be able to make just yet. I don't know if I want to set up a basic 3x3 big reactor. Yeah, we'll do that this episode. Honestly, we might. We'll see. Let's see. The machine chassis requires Invar and basic capacitors. Basic capacitors require, that's standard. Or you can do electrotene, or you can do this hub-jub of stuff. Yeah, I think we're going to keep following the achievement book. So we'll go for the induction smelter, the magma crucible, and the fluid transposer right now. Just so we can make alloys, you know, like Invar and stuff. We can make them outside of the smeltery. And we might as well go ahead and knock it out. So let's go ahead and turn over to automation. And we're going to get all three of these. These are all going to require basic machine frame. So I'm going to start with that. Basic machine frame. And then let's get a few more of these. Which probably means I'm going to need more of, like, everything. I think I'm going to need more grout and all that. How fast does this smelt? Not too bad. Not too bad. I was wondering if it was buffed up like in Craft of the Titans or anything, but it's not. Let me just make another stack of grout. For some reason I'm trying to do it with cobblestone. That makes no sense. Oh, I'm actually out of sand again. What do you know? Okay. And, oh, I'm going to need more glass. Whoops. Yeah, I'm going to have to go get more sand. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to get this, this grout smelting up. And then let me repair my shovel, and I'll go out and get a little bit more sand. As much as I can find, anyways. And then when we come back, I think I'm going to make a little bit better food. Because we're at the point now, I've got 3 different berry types. And I've got a decent amount of them coming in. So we're at the point now where we can upgrade from berries to that berry soup stuff. Berry salad. I don't remember what it's called. But basically a bunch of berries in a bowl is what it is. Okay, well that's like this one little spot I think is all the sand that we need at the moment. Yeah, and it broke my shovel. Yeah, so we got 4 stacks of sand. That's good. That'll bite us over for a little bit. And then maybe between the episodes I may upgrade the smeltery, make it a little bit bigger. It's not as pressing now that we're moving into power and stuff. You know, I was using it for ore doubling and only being able to smelt 9 ore at a time. It's kind of slow, but it was a very temporary phase that we went through with the Tinker Smeltery. So, oh, and we actually have glass in here, so I didn't actually need that, I guess, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and make some better food. So, I'm assuming that bowls are still standard recipe? Nope. Or is that not how you make bowls? I can never remember. I think they're different. They're slabs. I can't remember if they're normally slabs or not, but whatever. There we go. And there's a stack of bowls. And then I should have... Yeah, there's raspberries, there's blueberries, and then I've got blackberries on me. So, bowl, blueberry, raspberry, blackberry, and we can get our berry medleys. Okay? And these, if we eat these, they restore quite a bit more hunger, and a decent amount of saturation as well, so... And it's like pouring. I do need to get more raspberries planted, though. Okay, so we should have... Yeah, I think we've got enough resources now to make the rest of our seared glass. Yeah, because we've already got one machine frame made. Okay, and then we're going to need a bunch of iron, make all those iron plates. And I'm actually going to need another 10 gear as well. So let me get... if I can find... There it is. Whoops. There was copper in there. I made bronze. That's fine. We'll need it, I'm sure, at some point. This is why I hate, like, smelting things and doing things, well, in the smeltery. Because I end up with all this, like, just junk. I'm terrible about it. I'm terrible about having a messy smeltery. I'll try to get this cleaned out, and then we'll just use it for making parts and stuff like that, and make most of our alloys, after this episode, make most of our alloys in alloy smelters and induction smelters. Okay, so there's our other 2 machine frames, and then, let's see, to make the, we'll start with the magma crucible. That requires, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make that yet. I'm not going to be able to make that. Because I need redstone alloy blocks. So, okay, we can make that in the induction smelter, though. So, we'll start with the induction smelter. That requires a bucket, 2 pieces of Invar, and then Invar gears. So, that's 2 parts 2 parts iron, 1 part ferrous, right? So I've got 4 pieces of ferrous ore. We'll just smelt that up. Because, of course, we're going to need Invar for the machine frames. We're going to need it for induction smelter. What does it take to make the... Yeah, the magma crucible is also Invar. Oh!
Great glory! Prepare to be diced and sliced.
Oh, we do have invasions. Alright. Yeah, you can see on the map, there's like red everywhere. I can't remember which one Blade Flurry is. Oh, it's those guys. I hate those guys. They throw like saw blades. Yeah, I may end up turning the invasions off. We'll see. I don't know how well they'll go with this pack, because normally invasions, they're nice, you know, in situations where you have like access to some OP stuff. But, yeah, there's one right there too. No, stop it. Okay, let me sleep. Because the sun's setting, I really don't want nighttime to hit right now. But I love the invasions at the same time, because, like, the announcer and everything is just great. There we go. I don't know. We may leave them on. Leave some of them on. There's certain ones that I wouldn't mind turning off. Oh, no. There's just red all over the map. My main problem is when the invasions start, like, spawning so fast that you can't even clear out, like, one invasion before you have another one. And then I don't like the ones with the demons that explode. Because, you know, I like to build. I don't want everything blown up. So those are kind of a nuisance. Because those are normally only nether mobs. Oh, man. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Okay, let's head back inside for right now. And we'll see. I may turn those off. Just because... Well, we did get a bunch of throwing sites, so we could use those on them. How you like to take of your own medicine? There we go. Oh my gosh, there's so many of them. They just keep coming. Okay. Well, anyways, let's continue on with what we're working on here anyways. I think we did get a few pieces of iron, which is nice. But our Invar is done, so let's go ahead. Yeah, we've got 24 pieces of it. Okay, so there's our Invar and our Invar gears. And then we can get our induction smelter, I think. No, we're going to need a gold gear. Okay. I don't know. Part of me likes the invasions, but part of me is like, well, I don't want my stuff to get blown up. I don't know. Anyways, there is our induction smelter. And we've actually got these flux ducts. I think I'm going to use them and just bring that power up. And I'm going to need more coal in this, actually. This thing's definitely not a power source I'm going to want to stick with, but... Seems like they're going to want us to get a big reactor this episode, maybe. Or the beginning of next episode. Alright, so our induction smelter is getting power. Let's see, to get silicon. I'm assuming that's still just sag milling, pulverizing. Yes, okay. Sounds good. Let's get a stack of sand, and we'll just run this through the pulverizer, get a bit of silicon built up. And first up, we're going to need 9 pieces of silicon. We'll run that together with 9 pieces of redstone, and we can start getting our red alloy block. Okay, it's actually going to take a little while because, you know, this thing gets faster the more power that it has, but as it stands right now, it's pretty low on power, actually. And that should have completed a quest. Combine. They're going to give us 64 Grimstone. It's kind of nice. That'll be good for building a little bit later on. And then what is this quest? Make 8 Invar ingots. Okay. I'll tell you what. Let me just pour out a bit of this Invar. And we'll get a casting basin out. Set that there. And then dump that out so we can turn in that quest. There is our Invar block. And that quest is completed. They're going to give us a lead. So. Alright. going to go ahead and grab these raspberry bushes because I need to expand the planting of the raspberries and get as many of those planted as I can to make more berry medleys. I mean, honestly, they're a fairly good food, especially once you get a lot of berry bushes set up. You know, something like we have with the blackberries. Berry medley is very, very good for that. Alright, so magma crucible and fluid transposer. I think the fluid transposer is the one we're going to start with because it just requires copper gears, redstone reception coil, glass bucket. Fairly simple to make, so let's get a little bit of copper. And I actually think I've got a little bit of tin still in. No, I got rid of all the tin. Okay. So we'll throw the copper in, and then let's get enough gold for a gear. And I tell you what, let me actually get enough gold for 2 gears, because we're going to need another one for the magma crucible. So, and then we're also going to need a bucket. And there's our 9 redstone alloy, so we'll go ahead and grab that. And first thing that we're going to do with these is turn it into a block. And then we can, honestly, I'm going to go ahead and get another set of that running, because we're going to need more of these. And those 2 have stopped running, so these should build up with power. Then it can feed all of its power into the induction smelter, which will be, that'll be good. Alright, let me change over to the table again. And we'll get our gear cast and give us our gold gear. And there is no immersive engineering, so the normal like metal press system for oh, I didn't put enough copper in here at all. But the normal like metal press system for making all of the gears and stuff, it's not going to work. But let's go ahead and get some Invar cooking up because I'm going to need that for the magma crucible. There's that, there's that. Let's get, I'm just going to grab a bit of redstone. So, first up, the fluid transposer. There's our redstone reception coil, and I'm just waiting for that copper to cook up real quick. There we go, and there's our fluid transposer. And then for the magma crucible, oh, this is going to take nether brick. Okay, how can we make nether? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that. Nether brick, smelt netherrack. Huh. Okay, so we're going to have to go to the nether. There is no way around that. I mean, to get the magma crucible, we're going to have to. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to put the fluid transposer, like, right here. And I'll run the power over in just a minute. And while we're working on that, let me go ahead and I'll get a bit more of that red alloy being made, because we're going to need this stuff. Might as well. So, is flint and steel, is it just standard in this pack? Okay, it is. I'm used to flint and steel in most expert packs being actual steel. So I actually was not expecting that. I mean, realistically, I could pop into the nether for all of like 5 seconds and get everything that we need. Because really all we need is a bunch of netherrack. So that's going to be the plan, anyways. And make me a block of that. There we go. Well, there. Okay. Do they have a quest to make... Oh, there's a quest for silicon that we've completed. And they're going to give us 3 sugar. And then transpose, they're going to give us 64 factory blocks. Okay. And let me empty out my inventory, because I'm not going to go into the nether with all this stuff. Okay. And I think our nether portal, I'm just going to set it up, like, right in here. Or maybe not even... Maybe a little bit deeper. Because stuff can come out of the nether that's not fun to have to deal with. So, yeah, I think we're going to put our nether portal in, like, right over here. So, we'll just go bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. There. And all I'm going to take into the Nether with me is my flint pickaxe. And I guess my flint and steel because I'm holding it and I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so let's do this. We are going to the Nether. I just need netherrack. Like 8 pieces of it. This could be very, very bad though. Oh, it's actually not too bad. What is this? Nether coal. Okay, so nether ores are in the pack. And we got nether quartz. Whoops. That means really, I mean, we could make a better weapon now that we've been to the Nether. We have access to nether quartz. Oh no. Oh man, we've got all kinds of mobs coming out to greet us. Yeah. Oh, we got some bad ones coming. Okay, well, we can pull this off. We'll be all right. Only I could get that one block right up there. There we go. There we go. Haha, you guys cannot win. There we go. I'm gonna try to block this off a little bit, so we at least have like a semi-safe area to spawn into. And then what I'll do is I'll kind of tunnel out from the Nether portal. There we go. And then we can come through here and go into our little tunnel area and then go off from there. So I'm going to leave that flint pickaxe. I don't really need it. So I was just kind of looking for an excuse to throw it down. It's broken. I'm not going to repair it, so we'll leave it. Okay. That actually wasn't too bad. I've had a lot worse spawns and a lot worse initial trips to the Nether than that. So let's go ahead and smelt ourselves up a bit of that netherrack. And let's see, our magma crucible, it's a leadstone energy cell. That's going to take lead gears, lead ingots, and electrum ingots. Okay. Well, I've got a bit of gold in there, so let me throw in, let's do, that's going to make us like 16 electrum. That'll be good. And then for the lead, let's do we'll do like 8 ingots of that, or 5, that's fine too, whatever. Okay. So electrum, and actually this is going to complete a quest because we do have a quest to get electrum at the moment. And then I'll change this over, I guess, for, well, let me go ahead and throw in some more lead. Might as well. Alright, so there's our electrum, and right here, precious soft material, or precious soft metals. They're going to give us a pneumatic servo, and then they want us to make a leadstone energy cell frame. Alright, there's our lead block. We'll go ahead and change this over now, and start making some gears. There's that. How much lead do I have in here? Well, I was thinking about making a couple leadstone energy cell frames, but I'm not going to be able to pull that off just yet. Because I'm wanting to make some power storage, but man, it's so expensive in this pack. It is so expensive. But that's a good thing, honestly. Okay, so leadstone energy cell frame, and that should complete a quest. It does. They're going to give us a trash can. And we'll just set that for right now. We'll put it right here, in case I need to throw anything away, which probably isn't going to be the case for a while. And then our magma crucible. Oh yeah, I need a gold gear. Let's see, our nether bricks are done. We'll go ahead and get that. And come on, finish cooking. Okay, there's our gold gear, our reception coil, and our, what am I missing? Oh, Invar gears. I think I have those made, right? Are they in here? No. Okay, I actually didn't pour them out yet. There is our magma crucible. Woot. We're steadily getting there. And then I'm gonna just run power over the top of these like that, and that way these will start getting fueled. And let's see, the magma crucible, I think... Yeah, that's the front of these. Let's do... That left side's going to be output. Right side is going to be input. Okay, so those are done. Those are set up. We can go ahead and mark that off of our achievement book. And then turn this quest in. They're going to give us 64 factory blocks. I'm just going to put those in there for right now. We'll use those fairly soon, depending on what kind of base theme we go with and everything. Now, next up, they want us to make an alloy smelter and a sag mill. Now, to make this, we're going to need machine chassis. That takes basic machine frames. What do you know? And what else does it take to make these, by chance? Sag mill is pretty standard, just requiring Invar. Alloy smelter takes a casting basin and then a bunch of furnaces. And Invar. Okay. We're going to need a bunch of Invar. Like a bunch. So, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am not going to do anything because I don't have any ferrous. And I've got 6 pieces of Invar to my name. Good. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's get, I don't know what that was. But let's get a leadstone energy cell frame. Because I want some way to store power at the moment. This can store 400,000. What does it take to upgrade it to... Under automation, if we take a look, the basic energy storage, the basic capacitor bank, that stores 1 million. And that's just basic capacitors and Invar. Okay, we could pull that off right now. So we've got the electrum that we need. We just need the lead gears and the lead ingots. Actually, I've got the lead ingots. Okay, so I'll tell you what. That's 5, 6, 7, 8. Throw that in there. Yeah, we're going to pull this off. We're going to get a basic capacitor bank because I want some way to store power. And actually, is the basic... Okay, that actually takes the full-fledged leadstone energy cell. So there's that. And then, to upgrade it, we're going to need a bunch of copper. We're going to need 12, 13, 14 copper ingots. I think I've got... Yeah, here's 2 copper ingots. So I'm going to need 12 copper in there. Actually, I've got 4. I'll pull that out. And then we're going to need gold, and I'm pretty much out of gold at the moment. So I'm going to head down. I still know where a bunch of gold is in the mines. So let me go mine up a little bit more of that, and that way we can get our... Because we're going to need... 12 ingots of gold. And I'll tell you what, one thing I do want to grab while we're down here is I want to grab our first diamond. Because there's one thing I want to make in a minute that's going to require a diamond. Oh, we actually got 2. That's not bad. Ooh, dense diamond ore. I'm going to wait to mine most of that, though, until I have fortune 3. Unless, you know, I can just leave them sitting there, and then if we need diamonds, we can pop in there, and if we don't, we can leave it alone. You know, it's not a pressing matter. I would love to find some gold ore berry bushes at some point. That would be great. What is this? Haha, to be continued. I was actually editing footage. I recorded quite a bit, way more than I should have. Because I just kept on going, you know. And then when I was editing the footage, I realized it was wrapping up point around this point, and it seemed like a fitting point to kind of end off the episode right there and kind of leave you guys hanging. So, anyways, next episode when we come back, we'll continue on. We'll find out what that creature is and everything, and get a bit more into the tech stuff. Keep working through the quest book and everything. And maybe get into some big reactors and whatnot. As of right now, I think I've recorded an extra like 20-ish minutes or something of footage. So I just figured it's wrapping up point. We're going to end it there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I'm still, you know, I'm having a blast with this pack. It's a lot of fun. Love the recipe changes. I have to say that some of those tech recipes are pretty insane. Like, just to give you an idea, if we look at capacitors, for example... you can kind of see a sneak peek of something that we craft next episode. But I was looking, and creative capacitors are actually craftable in this pack, which is kind of nuts. But you do need creative energy cells. You need torment from witchery. You need ultra compressed capacitors, which are super compressed octadic capacitors. And capacitors themselves, or capacitor banks, are actually pretty expensive for the higher tier ones and stuff. There's just some crazy recipes in this pack, I have to say. So anyways, I hope you guys join me for next episode, and we'll continue on with our divine journey. And I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay up to date with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. I'm hoping that, well, not at the beginning of next episode, because I've already recorded a bit of that footage, but I'm hoping at some point between where I stopped recording today and when I'll start recording for the next episode to finish it out, I'm hoping maybe to find a new home base location. You know, I'm going to do a bit of exploring and a lot of mining. Like, after seeing how many resources that we need, I'm going to do a bunch of mining. So anyways, I hope you guys join me for that. Until next time, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I will see you guys then.